All right, good morning, traders. Welcome to the Bookmap All Markets webinar. This is Bruce at Bookmap, and we're going to go through the order flow analysis for the day using Bookmap. We do this webinar every Monday, Tuesday, and Friday at 10 a.m. East Coast time. And the goal here is to understand order flow and integrate this within whatever market you trade or whatever style that you trade. Understanding, really getting down into the details of order flow will help any trading strategy. And that's our goal here. All right, a couple of disclosures and we'll jump right into the markets and look at the live order flow. General disclosure, all Bookmap Limited materials, information, and presentations are for educational purposes only and should not be considered specific investment advice nor recommendations. Risk disclosure, trading futures, equities, and digital currencies involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Alois, Stephen, and Rob, and others. All right, let's jump in here and see what's going on in the order flow. We're looking at the S&P E-mini, and just recently, you guys can see something very distinct on the bid at a higher level here. Okay, so we can see quite a few people here in the depth here on the bid from somewhere around this kind of 81, almost 82, down to 78, and that, like I said, just came in and not too long ago, and now we're looking for a reaction though to that context. Now, we can also take a look at precisely this order flow in here and understand what's going on here, since we have the context of when precisely these orders came into the market. So this is a larger player. There's no question about it. And look at how they layered in here at 4 different price levels. And we have our large lot tracker in our current order book column here that's showing that you can see the staggered orders a little bit, but 2 are at the same, probably about 120 or 50 or so, something like that, and then maybe 120 or 100, somewhere around in here, as you can see across these 4 different levels here, and they all came in at the same time. Right, so the chances of it, well, a little bit staggered, not much though. The chances that they are the same player are pretty high. Okay, so that's 4 different price levels there, plus a couple of different price levels above here as well. Right, so this is what we want to understand, and the reaction to this very strong bid. Right, so now we can see buyers starting to come in. So we're looking for the aggressors here to test up into this 87 level. And we've already tested up here a few times. Okay, so I'm looking for enough buyers in here now to test into and break this 87 level and then come up to another level up here at 90. All right, we even see the strong bid here underneath, as you can see, kind of in this bluish area here. Now, we'd like to see maybe even a bit more liquidity underneath here and the reaction be buyers here. So we're getting a bit of a pullback right now. We just always note this in our education. See how it's kind of dark in here? Okay, we want to see the bid be stronger at some of these areas and the reaction to that liquidity not be sellers. Like we're starting to see sellers coming in a bit, and not much, but a bit. We want to see buyers come in. Now, here, we don't see so many sellers. So now the question is, we tested down here. We know that there's a bid, okay? And we know that also price can come down and test into this bid here. We're looking to see if we get those sellers or not. Right now, we do not see them, okay? So we're looking for buyers up here on a retest. If we get buyers up here at this 84 3/4, there we go. Okay, now I'm looking for buyers to take it back up into this 86.5 and 87. Because we've retested down here a few times and we found some buyers up here. Okay, the bid is strong in general, and we're trying to see the reaction. We can see a pretty strong move here. It's not the strongest on the sell side, but you can see that how it picked up in here. Okay, so we're looking to see if we can get our buyers to come back up into this area up here, right? Well, here's a rotation that we just took. Okay, we can see we got our buyers up in here, not enough to take it further. Retested here. We have a stronger bid now, and let's see if we can auction just a little bit more here on the offer. If we get a big green dot in here, now we're looking for the move higher. All right, so if we get that big green dot in here, there they are. Okay, so now we've tested up here a couple of times, and we're starting to find buyers, and we know there's a strong bid. So yeah, is more likely that we'll get the move up into this 86.5, 87, and maybe 88. We're also looking at 90 up here, right? So just a very quick order flow reading in here and understanding the context between these three elements on the chart here. All right, and that's it. Now getting up into these swings up here, we can talk about how you might consider some of your trade management on this. Right, so up in here, this is the first. Well, it's not the first test actually. This is like at least the second test of this liquidity here. We might find enough buyers then, since we tested once, come back and we're testing again. We might see a breakout through it now, okay, because it's already hit this area here and we found some buyers. Now we're finding more, right? However, the safe thing to do would be to take some off up here. Okay, so we were looking, the entry point in would have been someplace in here, let's say. And again, this is all, it's not a trade recommendation. This is a hypothetical scenario that we're going through. Right, so you can understand and learn this and then apply this to in basically any time frame as well. All right. So we're getting our buyers again. I do not see icebergs. I see a little bit of a stop run. It's not that big. So I'm still looking for buyers to take it higher. Okay. As simple as that. Right. Now, this is why we wanted to take some off up here. Okay, but we're still looking for, the stop would be at break even then. Break even plus 1, let's say. Okay. And we might get stopped out. We're well aware of that. Right. We took some off though. This is a consideration for your trade management. Now let's go through, I want to go through another way to consider your trade management here as well. In fact, I mean, there's many different ways to slice and dice it. However, let's just go through one more, and we'll go through more aggressive ones in just a second here. Right, so let's suppose you got in someplace around here. Okay, your stop would be here as well. Okay, break even plus 1. Now the problem with their break even plus 1 in here is exactly this. You're getting stopped out right there. Okay, now the problem with this here, and it's just a consideration, you took some off, look for the next one. Okay, great. However, in this one, if you're looking for a stronger move from kind of the inside out, and you still believe in this trade, then there's another consideration for your trade management, right? So it would be something like this. Let me cover that, and you would still be in this trade. Now, the reason that we're going to cover this is because this happens a lot in here. We'll get a retest to where this kind of broke out from many times. This is the scenario. Okay, and then we want to see if there's still demand in here, and then we still get buyers in here, because this is an important level on this small time frame. Okay, and that's what we want to determine and consider our trade management. All right, so let's go through an example. So suppose that you took some off up here, right? So that would be your move. Okay, well, at that point, you may consider moving your stop to here then. Okay, and let's go up one tick. That would be your break even plus 1, right? So your stop on your break even plus 1 would be here, okay, on the overall position, if you legged out half of it up here. Now maybe you legged out a quarter, or a third, half, whatever it is, you would still be in this. All right. Now if you got stopped out down here, then you would have made 1 tick on the entire move. All right, because you would have a small loss on this one, you'd have a small gain on this one. All right, but if you're looking for something and you believe in the move due to the order flow in here, then that will keep you in this trade. All right. So now there's 2 simple ways of considering managing your trade here on multiple contracts. Okay? Taking off half at a certain point, then moving your stop to break even. The other way, or another consideration in here, well, let's see, before I go into the other consideration, let's talk about why we may consider this second scenario or option here. The reason being is, look at your profile here. Okay, look at it. I drew a trend line in here now too. Okay, so getting a test back into the middle of the range in here is not the. I mean, it can happen, and it might be likely. And just to retest and bounce off of this area, it kind of broke out by a few ticks, traded back into the mean here, and then we want to see if there's still demand in here. So if that is the case, then this option 2 here for your trade management would keep you in the trade, right? And you're still being responsible with your risk management. All right. And then let's consider that you're still in it. So how would you manage it? Well, it still looks pretty good. We need to see our buyers up in here now, because if we don't and we see sellers starting to come in, then I may consider cutting it at this point. Okay, because this is what can happen. We break the trend line, we get a very, very quick move down into here, and our gains evaporate. Now, why would we? We're still kind of in the range up here. Okay, well, this is what we're looking at in here. See how we made kind of lower highs here? Okay, kind of an equal high in these 2 points here, but we're making lower highs in here. Okay, and we're looking for our buyers in here. All right, and if we don't get our buyers and we're making lower highs and they're trying to buy, but they cannot reach these highs, look out, because we're probably going to get sellers down at the bottom of the range here, and they will likely hit the bid pretty hard back down into maybe this liquidity down here, point of control, maybe other side of the range, right? So that's why we would consider cutting the trade at that point. Okay, and yeah, we're kind of getting there here. You can see here's a lower high again. We had some buying here, right? And we're getting some sellers in here. Now, I would give it one last shot in here. If we get our buyers in here, I think we're good. But if we don't, like we just kind of exhausted here, and we see some sellers here, that's where I would cancel or exit the position. There we go. So I would likely exit the position here. All right, on that second leg. All right, so now this way, we're looking for, it still may work out, but at this point here, why chance it? Because the order flow here is telling us something. Okay, and in fact, this could be, you could even consider the reversal. And looking for back into the mean, which basically is kind of done here at 83 or 84, and then maybe we'll get even a bigger move here, right? But the buyers couldn't support this here, or couldn't maintain the upward movement. All right, so we're getting another retest here, but we'll see if this is enough buying now. And this would be another position now. You would be looking for another position, another setup in here. All right, is this clear? Do you have any questions on this? Okay. All right. Another way. Now, this is another way to manage this would be all in and all out. Now, this is something I would recommend for those of you who are, maybe newer to Bookmap or newer to trading or both. And the reason being is like we're looking for an order flow event in here. And we're looking for something more likely to unfold and take our profits. All right, and that's it. And that builds confidence. And we want to build confidence, and then we can consider all of these other options. The second option, layering in or scaling in, etc. Okay, so that gets much more complex, and your trade management at that point might conflict with your psychology, or I hate to use that word, your mindset though, of like, well, I don't know what I'm doing now. And that will shake your confidence, and that's what we don't want. Okay, so if that is the case, and you know that, and you start to feel that, then I would recommend you just try all in and all out. Look for the next setup. All right. I hope that helps, because you can see, like, at this point in here, we really didn't quite know. We had a couple of retests in here, and look at the buyers up here. They just cannot manage a higher high. So we're going to look for these sellers to come in here pretty hard now. Okay? And all of this buying up at this kind of top edge in here is going to be in trouble. And we should see a pretty nice move back down into maybe 82, 80, 81, and maybe 80 down here. Okay, because they're just failing to find that demand. Okay, now we also have, look at the stair stepping here of higher liquidity at a higher level, and this is showing demand as well. Now this is one player, and out of the 318 contracts here is probably a little over 150. Right now, how much kind of impact or clout does this one player have? That's what we want to determine as well. Okay, because it really is this context here. It is one player here that's really skewing this order book. What does the rest of the market think of this one player? And we know it's one player. They have high liquidity that came into the market here, pulled, added 2 ticks higher, pulled, added 2 ticks higher. Actually, here's a little bit of capitulation. Pulled, added 1 tick higher, pulled it, and added it back to this level. Okay, so yeah, looking for our sellers. There they are. And looking for the sellers now to take it through this area, and we're going to look for our stop run on the other side now. Okay, so and there we go. So we got our move down into this area. Okay, so this is, we're about 80. Where did we go to? About 82 3/4, 83, yeah, I'd maybe consider taking, if I was in this now short on the other side, right? Because we were even considered or talked about that here, being short somewhere around in here, especially when we start to look at this in here or in here. This is looking really good on the short side. These buyers are failing to bring it higher, right? And we're seeing the sellers come in. Now they traded into and through that liquidity down to here. I would look for a pullback here at that point, probably back up to here, maybe one last chance. Well, we didn't get it, right? Sellers came in, hit it hard. We see the stop run. This is what we were looking for in forecasting earlier, was exactly this move into 80 here. Okay, and then here's our big stop run, right? So we just kind of walk through a series of potential trades that might have unfolded, and or opportunities that are actionable, as well as going through the trade management scenarios in here. Okay, as well as seeing the potential here for that reversal after managing the long here, looking for the short side, and then also managing the short side here would be I would be well, yeah, I would probably be all out then here at 80. That would be my target, and I'd look for the next opportunity at that point. Okay, because I'm looking at these small time frames in here, and I know this is a big move. I am looking for a pullback in here after large volume on the sell side, as well as a large stop run into high liquidity. Right, so because it's just kind of the nature of markets that this is, as we know, it's a stop run for sure. Okay, we can see how many. Let's see how many stops are actually in here. It looks like around 400 based off of our lines here, but we can put it on the chart as well. All right. Nice book sweep here. Look at the, oh wow, look at the icebergs getting filled on the way down too. Okay, so we can see them getting filled on the way up, willing to buy at these lower levels in here. Okay, and they're front running also. Look at how they front run that high liquidity in here. Guys, this is what we always recommend as well with some of the trade management, is to front run that high liquidity, because a lot of times it just kind of inches down to it and then curves away back from it. Right, so yeah, this is the target, is this high liquidity. If you put your order down here though at this high liquidity, you're going to be at the back of the queue, and it's got to trade through it in order for you to get filled. Okay, so front run it, and just be a tick or two in front, and you're more likely to get your fill. Okay, or you can just market, exit on market as well. Just hit your flatten button. All right. Because now you can see that sellers moved it. They're in control of the market here. But these are the inflection points we are now interested in here. Okay, somewhere around in here, and then also where it broke from up here. Maybe high liquidity here, but really we'll kind of take a look up here. Okay, we have our high volume node around here and here, both areas. So if we get enough buyers in, we'd be looking for the retest back to those areas. Okay. All right. Let me see. How's everyone doing over in Discord? Some nice images, Stan. Beautiful stuff. Okay. I think we're good. Any other questions? Stan, I'll reach out to you later today, this afternoon. There's Crash. He's late, but someone said this. Or I'm sorry. Yeah. What are these points of interest, and why is liquidity zone so thick here? Well, we covered all of this earlier here. Larger player coming in this area. Okay. Well, we haven't taken a look at our higher time frame yet, but let's do that. And well, in fact, you guys, you can see again, build confidence in these moves in here. We know that this is like a big move in here. Take some off after a big move. If the market quickly gives it to you, take it. This was, I'm not really sure exactly if maybe it was some sort of geopolitical or some sort of other event or something. Some sort of news, or just a larger player dumping, or a lot of stops being triggered in here. You can see 377 stops here, and you can see the stops were transacted over 3 different levels in here. Okay, now just so you guys know, again, and we've covered this many times, but you understand that this book sweep here, really truly what's going on is very accurate. The data that we have here in Bookmap, it is showing you how these markets actually operate, and that is golden. It really is. You understand the market mechanics here behind what's truly unfolding here in this market. We see larger player in here starting to hit the bid, and we see there's a lot going on in here. Okay, so a lot of volume trading to the downside very, very quickly, and we see these icebergs starting to gobble up on the other side, but they're trading right through these hidden orders as well, and fully executed down here, one of them at least. Some of the others, no, they're all executed, it looks like. Yeah, they're all executed here, right? You can see this one was for 85, 25, 10, and then here's the big one, but there's actually a couple of different icebergs in here executed, 150 and then 20. Okay, so 170 there, 200 here, and another 50 here. Okay, so we have one, two, well, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 iceberg orders over this book sweep in here that all got executed. All right, and now look at the poor traders that got slipped in here. 377 stops, okay, triggered or executed. Now we just know that we don't know if it's to enter or exit. Typically this is after a big run like this, it is people getting stopped out, right? So and they're getting slipped. Now they may have been in here from this point on. Any of these areas in here could have been their stops. Okay, these 377 contracts in here. Now what happens is, in the order of operations in the market mechanics, these trade first. There is a queue for the aggressor. The aggressor who hit the market sell button will get filled first. Any other orders that are related to or impacted by that first large order that was transacted, then the other orders are executed afterwards. Okay, so, and that's what happened. So we don't know where the stops actually were, but we do know where they transacted. Okay, and if it's a stop loss, that's how you get slipped. Okay, you might be up here, but you got filled maybe down here. All right, now, and then we can start to understand now again, like just about the accuracy of these markets and the mechanics. This is really important. Notice the bid and the offer here. Okay, they update, and this is how the market works. You get the book sweep, you see these icebergs getting filled in here, you see the stops getting filled later, and then we see the book update. Okay, the first thing that updates was the best offer and then the best bid. Okay, and that's why they're reversed here. It was just about the update. Okay. Yeah, good stuff. Yeah, it just looks like it's supply and demand, Caesar. It's not really there's no news or anything like that. It makes good sense. I mean, we were kind of watching this whole range up here in that buying, and we were looking buy side to begin with, right? Due to the reaction of that liquidity in here, we're finding buyers. Okay, top of the range, trying to hold for more up into 90. Just didn't see it. We're sell sided basically at that point, and then we talked about going sell side, and we talked about also trade management on the sell side. Okay, and then we're looking for a pullback as well, and then well, you can see there just wasn't enough demand again. We've kind of trickled all the way back down to the low here, and yeah, now we can see again this context. High liquidity on the bid. Larger players, our large lot tracker with that white vertical line in here showing how much they're holding at these price levels. out of the 312, probably about 130, 120, something like that. And yeah, I don't see demand, so I'm still looking for sellers in here to hit the bid into this liquidity here. Okay, now this is a phenomena. I wanted to mention another thing in here about front running and this liquidity in here. As we trickle down like this happens a lot. You'll see that there's just sellers are just not interested in hitting into this liquidity. There's a lot of profit taking down in some of these areas, therefore a lot of times you'll see buyers come in on the other side, will come all the way back up here, maybe even break it, get some sort of retest up there or reversal pattern, and then finally come back down here and trade into and through these areas of high liquidity. Okay, so that's again another reason why, like, as we're dribbling or trickling down into these areas in here, you may consider front running and taking some of your profit in front of it. Okay, and it's precisely that, the others that are doing it, that keeps it away from trading to this liquidity. Another scenario in here that you see a lot, we saw a little bit of it starting to develop here. High liquidity will come in on the offer, and you won't find buyers willing to take it up here, to take price up to these levels. That's when, finally it basically, you'll see it push into the high liquidity. Okay, you'll see that so frequently. I mean, you see even a little bit of it here. As you can see right in here, high liquidity comes in, but the buyers did take them on here, but it totally exhausted out here. Again, sellers coming in, exhaustion, sellers coming in. It should have traded down to that liquidity at this point. Basically, it did not. Well, it finally kind of did, but all right, so this is very typical, and maybe we'll just get some back and forth here for a bit. Okay, so look at the offer though. See how it's starting to kind of shape up a little bit. In fact, let me I'm using the default heat map settings here, but really keen or clue into this kind of liquidity up here, that you see, this kind of this lighter blue color. It really is pretty meaningful stuff. You'll see the book kind of get skewed in here, and how you can view that better is by bringing down or playing around with the default settings in here, and if you bring down your upper cutoff here, okay, on the heat map form, you'll start to see it a little bit better. Okay. Also the lower cutoff, you'd have to bring that down. You can see this a little bit better now. Okay. All right, let me see if there's any other questions in here. Well, yeah, liquidity. Let's put it this way: we get this question a lot about the liquidity heat map, and liquidity acting like a magnet or repellent. So let's get into the market mechanics again. In fact, let's just actually go to our. Let me show you. It's just easier. It really is. We'll show it in Bookmap, because Bookmap's quite quite visual. In these concepts, we can very easily visualize for you and demonstrate how these markets work. However, we've got one better here. So you can just go to bookmap.com and then hit the education button. It'll take you to our learning center, and go over the market mechanics course here. Okay, and watch part 1. It's this
trade that just took place here was
this one here. We have it in diagram form, understanding really like the basic very basic market mechanics, but it is extremely important to understand this: the best offer, the best bid, the spread, and then the aggressor here, the market buy, hitting or lifting the offer, hitting into these 12 contracts here. Okay, and what happens in here? We go through multiple examples in here, and you'll see like how a book skew in here, which we saw earlier. It was on the bid, had an effect on price, even though they're not getting filled. They're just it's kind of showing their intent, but we don't know if it's real or not. We assume it is, but this skew in the order book here can make price move to the downside. So what I'm trying to get at here is, in these market mechanics, understanding if it's working like a magnet or not. One thing is certain: for every buyer, there needs to be a seller. Okay, so if you hit the market buy button, you made the decision that you want in the market at the best next price that you can get. And it might be 5 ticks away, it could be 10, it could be 1. Okay, now these markets are so efficient and so liquid with the current or the stock market futures here in the CME that it's usually 1 tick. Right, so you'll pay up 1 tick, and you'll transact and make the agreement here with the seller on the offer. We'll sell to you at that price. We'll buy from him at that price. Okay, for every buyer, there is a seller. Right. So the question about it being a magnet or not, well, it's the same thing on the higher time frame. Okay, where are the majority of the buyers? Well, they're here, and we're down here right now. So in essence, yeah, absolutely, this is a magnet. Okay, looking for the sellers to transact with the buyers here. Okay, because we've come down here once, twice, thrice, and we're down here. So there is a market for it, and these buyers will likely find their sellers. All right, now that's the bigger picture. Okay, and if they don't find them, instead we find aggressive buyers, then they'll veer away from this, and it's not a magnet any longer. Okay, maybe this is the magnet here on the other side, the majority of the sellers up in these areas here. Okay, now we can demo this on a low time frame too. Okay, so boy, this liquidity in here is really skewing it. Here, let's just go to our heat map settings again. All right. Okay, so here's our best bid, our best offer. Here, let's make the volume dots bigger. Okay, and then see that little skew right there, and see how they're pulling here, and we found some buyers. Okay, now we're actually finding some sellers come back in, and not much of a skew here on the offer, but the sellers are coming in. So it looks to me like these sellers want to trade into this liquidity now. Looks like they're ready to trade into it now. Okay, so there's 79. Looking for them to still try to trade into 79 again. There's still liquidity here. And then also this 78 3/4. There's an iceberg here in the real live market right now. You can see that's one has transacted of it. It's still active though. And here at that 79 level. Okay, we don't know the size of it here until it fully transacts. There you go. It was actually an iceberg for the quantity of 2. Now here's another one just coming in. Okay, so a lot of interest at these levels here. Okay, and which is near the low of day. Okay, so there's our move now into, and we were looking for that, right? We saw it in real time. Okay, that we saw enough sellers in here. First we were looking for, we saw this kind of shift and move away up into these areas up in here, and then we didn't get enough buyers any longer. We found more sellers, and at that point, that's when we're looking for the sellers to hit into this liquidity. Okay, so I hope that answers your question about it being a magnet. In general, for every buyer, there needs to be a seller, even on the higher time frames. Okay, doesn't matter. Concept is the same. Okay, so in that case, it acts like a magnet. Okay, now, in this example here from our Learning Center, our educational course on market mechanics, we're showing an example in here where it's kind of like a spoof. There's a skew here that all of a sudden pops into the order book, and all of a sudden there's heavy supply. Now consider this as an example of what happens when there's a supply and demand imbalance. Okay, and we'll see it here in the live market as well. Okay, so here we just traded into that high liquidity, and we're going to see now if there's high liquidity on the bid here, very high liquidity, and then it repels price. We're not finding sellers, we're going to find buyers. Okay, or maybe the opposite. Maybe we're not ready for that yet. We're still finding sellers. And we're going to look at for a skew here in the order book on one side or the other, and it will repel price away from it. But this would be on a very low time frame, like there's a supply and demand imbalance. Okay, you can see one a little bit in here, right? And you can see like, whoa, sellers weren't too interested in that. All right, let's see if we get a little bit more in here. See, we'll see that. Now, we don't know if it's like some sort of algo that's trying to push price away, or if someone that's like was trying to get filled down here and they see price moving away and they want to get filled, so they chase it. Okay, one or the other, or a combination. Okay, so here's another skew. See the skew here? Now let's see if we get buyers out of that. Okay, so we see some new demand coming in here. Okay, do we see some supply willing to trade into it here? Yeah, so far so good. Yeah, looking for sellers to hit into it. No, we're not getting that. Okay, so see the skew here? See how this is working? Okay, so now they traded. Finally, up here, this was high enough for sellers to come in. Okay, again, supply and demand in here. Really, your economics 101. This in here repelled the sellers. And then finally, it's up here high enough where someone came in and says, I'll take that. And they did. They traded into it and through it. Okay? And then likely we're going to trade now back down into that high liquidity, because that's where the buyers are. Okay? And it's this game that goes on and on and on. Okay? Again, it looks like the same behavior over here, replicated again here. Okay? So let's see here. Now, what this means right now is this is the area where we've got a lot going on between the buyers and sellers. It's not really clear right now. Okay, so this is your your distribution, your accumulation, whatever you want to call it. But I have a bank trader that I used to who trained me, called it the barroom brawl. Okay, they're basically the buyers and sellers are battling it out. Okay, and we're going to see the victor here at a certain point. Okay, well, we saw a nice move into that high liquidity. Now look at the bid. It is still strong, still very strong after our stop run too. All right, so now let's also consider this now, because I would actually look to see if we get any kind of demand in here right now, to be honest. Very curious, because we have our stop run here. And let's consider what a stop run is. Like 709 contracts were stops. Okay, and you can see our Well, it's a couple of different stop runs actually. We aggregate it. There's 163. Here's 99, 42, 314 over 3 different levels here. Okay, so altogether it aggregates it 619 and another 100 or 90, 91 up there. So 709 altogether, right, through this area in here. All right, so what does that mean? Well, if the majority of these traders in here, and it's a stop run at the kind of low of the day here, we can consider this area in here as not selling, not sellers in control. It's the opposite. They're exiting. Now, there's other sellers, in here. We know that it's not just all stops. But if there's a lot of stops in here, we're likely going to find some demand, and because this is not real supply in here at that point. Okay, so we'd look to see if we can get some demand in here now. Okay, and maybe it's just short-lived. But maybe come back up into some of these, retest some of these swings in here. Okay, so let's take a look where if we get our demand, where it might go. Okay, well, yeah, it's already kind of done the first test. It would be somewhere around this level here, okay, where we kind of broke down from right here. Okay, maybe this swing here at 80 or let's call it 81. And then we have another swing up here at 82.5. Okay. Well, we can come all the way back up into 85 as well. Okay, so we put up a line up here. Well, 84.5 for our line. Okay. So now if we find the demand, right? So we didn't. We're still finding more supply hitting into the demand down here. And still transacting. Okay, so now we're going to be watching this closely though, and again another 100 stops in here, and we're looking at this level here very closely, this 76.5. Okay, and this is one of the scenarios we're going to look for, because we've traded into a lot of limit buy orders now. Okay, there's a lot that we're getting filled here. So at a certain point, watch these aggressors come in on the buy side, okay? Because we know there's stops. We know that there's a lot of buying here in these areas here with the limit buy orders. So the question is, when do we see the buy aggressors come in, okay, and show more demand? Okay, so a few different scenarios to look for. One is either total absorption at some of these levels, or exhaustion. So aggressive selling, maybe a higher low here, and then more buying up in here. Okay? And then if so, then we're looking for the move back up into some of these swings or higher liquidity here on the offer where the supply is. Okay, let's take a look. Here's a little bit of demand coming in. You can see that in the order book, and by the aggressor. Okay, so yeah, good, looks good. That context again. Look at the orders in here. Now, do we get enough aggressors? Yeah. Okay, let's see if we can trade up into this 79 level. Okay, that would be our first swing we'd look for. Nope, not enough, not enough. Okay, so more sellers hitting back down into these lower levels again, and we're going to look again and start to evaluate the demand and the supply in here. Okay, there's more sellers still. Okay, so they've just traded into more liquidity here. Okay, another iceberg just going off here, 168. Still in there. Okay, there's a little more demand. See how the reaction here to this low liquidity or liquidity here on the bid. Okay, I am looking for the move for the buyers to test up to 78 here. Okay, so these are the kind of rotations that we see. And when you look at your patterns like a head and shoulders or other patterns in the marketplace, this is how they develop. Okay, there's this kind of back and forth in here, this kind of buying and selling, and then we're looking to see like who can carry it further. Okay, and make new highs or new lows. Okay, a lot of times, I mean, you'll see these big pockets of like buying up in here. We go lower, and then finally we see no selling. We see selling down here, then we get no selling, and then we get another big pocket of buying, and that's when we can break it, right? And break this and trade on up into these areas up here, 79 and 80. Okay, so you can start to evaluate from the behavior here, but in this context between the buyers and sellers, okay, when it is more likely for that move to unfold. Now, the one thing we don't know, we can look for a more likely move to unfold, but you know, there might be just more selling that just comes in and sweeps it lower, and then we get another move back up here and then get the breakout. Okay, especially in this S&P market, you'll see that frequently, these rotations like that. Okay, other markets, you'll just see this, and then it'll just whip right back up into these areas pretty quickly. So again, know your markets. Now, here's again, you know, more demand at a higher level here. We're finding buyers. So I'm looking for the buyers to take it up to our 79 and maybe 80 level here. Hi, Alec. Welcome back. Let's see here. So RK, I think I answered your question in detail here on supply and demand. And again, like it looks like we're out of the woods right now, right? This is why, you know, I keep mentioning that reversals can be really tricky because it's looking pretty good here. We don't know what's going to happen. You know, in this, there's a couple different scenarios. Well, there's multiple scenarios in here, but now we've traded up into our 79.5 level here. But when reversals start to unfold, it takes a while here. And like I said, what we'll get is a large cluster of here. Let me just go through it. On the way down, large selling, right? Large selling, and then out of the blue, we start to see some large buying coming in. Okay, and then maybe not so much selling, but then we might get large selling again in here, and then not so much buying, but it starts to pick up and we get large buying up in here, just not enough, but now the selling starts to diminish. Okay, you're not getting that large selling anymore. Then we can look for that for the reversal, we'd look for that large buying to come back in here. Okay, and then finally retest back up in here where it auctioned before with a lot of buying. And if that is the case, it is more likely at that point we will get the move higher. Okay, and that would kind of complete the reversal, right? But this may happen several times in here, and that's what makes them tricky. Okay, because it's looking pretty good, and you'll get another rotation. And there's a few things about reversals as well. Yeah, I mean, you can draw up your market structure lines in here. You can look at a trend line and when that might break. in highs and lows, lower highs, or higher highs and higher lows, etc. And start to gauge that with the transactions and also the order flow, the order book, right? But um, like I said, you can look for those things, but what I have found, at least like through the order flow in here in Bookmap, uh, is many times it is when the reversal starts to unfold, it kind of hits you over the head. The buyers have had enough in here, like they whip it away from these areas quickly, right? And you'll see a real big distinction in the order flow, or the transactions, I should say. You'll see lots of buying coming in, and right now, see how we don't see that right now. Okay, not yet. Okay, but on the higher time frame, if we look on the lower time frame, actually looking pretty good. Okay, it's starting to unfold now. So right now, I am looking for them to trade back up into 80 here, and I want to see them kind of break this level here at 80. All right, so let's start to mark these up again though, and we can really start to understand now market structure within the order flow within the market structure. So we don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves and think like, oh wow, it's going to come up here into 85, 87. It will take a while here. Thanks, Eloise. Yes, you will need your level 2 data. And MBO data is with Rhythmic. Okay, and then you'll need the MBO bundle. You'll need to purchase that separately. Okay, it works with Global or Global Plus Bookmap version package. So guys, what long story short is on your reversals in here, you got to be patient. They may take a while. Okay, and it can be frustrating sometimes. You're positioned well, and there's just one more hit to the bottom. Okay, but you should anticipate that in a reversal, and that's why, like one of the first patterns we went through in our education here at the Learning Center was the first strategy was more momentum or continuation pattern here, and looking at a flag. So a move away from a consolidation zone on an impulse move, a low volume pullback that retraces less than 50% because the buyers have moved it away and they are in control. And then we're looking for the next impulse move up. Okay, and those are much easier than waiting for a reversal to unfold. Okay, so like right now, it looks great here, reversal wise. I'm looking for buyers. We're seeing it starting to unfold here. It's auctioning up at these levels here. Just need a lot of buying, and they should be able to move it pretty quickly, in fact. And I would look for a stop on the other side to the upside here, up into, well, probably 82. And the swing up here. I don't see much liquidity up there, though. There are a little bit's coming in at 82. Okay, so we're looking for it, and yeah, this would be the play that we'd be looking for. Now we have some demand here on the bid, not finding sellers, finding our buyers. I'd like to see these guys pull their liquidity and get out of the way, so it's easier for the price to slip upwards. There we go. Okay, buyers, you've got it. Okay. Now again, let's temper our expectations a bit. Okay, here's a swing here. We drew a price channel here. Okay, we're up. We're seeing the move starting to unfold here. Okay, so you know, maybe a bit higher here. We can get up a little bit higher and then manage the trade. Maybe take some off, right? Or if you're one of those kind of reversal players, like your stop is down here and you're just holding it. Okay, that would be like a higher time frame outlook, and you're looking for a much bigger move out of that as well. For those of you that do look for those higher time frame moves like that, or more medium term high time frame like that, I would just recommend one thing in here with reversals is to look at your measured moves in here. So here, kind of this structural area in here, we just want to take a measured move of it and just kind of gain expectations where it might go and where you might consider taking some off. Okay, because a lot of times that's as much as you get out of it. And you successfully saw it, but maybe your expectations were just too high. Okay, so if that is the case, then you mismanaged it. Okay, now this is very typical here. What we're just seeing right now as well. We're looking for the buyers, looking for the buyers. Okay, we got them. We got a pullback to where it kind of initiated or broke out, like we saw earlier, right? Just like we saw earlier on the downside. It'll pull back into these areas here, or maybe it was a move to the upside as well when we first started the webinar. We got a pullback to here, and look at the exhaustion here on the sell side. There's very little selling. We see more buyers in here come back in. That's when we're looking for these moves to unfold. Okay, and that is easier to trade these and momentum than it is to trade this in the reversal. Right, so your timing is good, and you're looking for the markup period here to unfold. Okay, and you'd still be in it waiting for it to work out. The buying looks good. Guys, if you like this webinar, please hit the like button. Helps us out here. We happy to give you free education here on order flow and understanding the market mechanics. We just need a little confirmation from you on that. Well, they're bidding up here, RK, and you can see a little bit here that just came in right here, and the reaction to that has been buyers. Okay, here again, look at that 500 contracts. Reaction is some buyers. Okay, so I'm looking for them to lift it here. There is kind of a wall up here. That's I would agree with you on that. Starting to form. Hey, I mean, I would be surprised if a bunch of selling came in. It may, but it is something to be very in tune with. However, it's just right now you'd be fighting all these other buyers in here. Okay, so I would be still looking buy side here. It's just it's taken a while to kind of turn around. Just buyers are moving the market, and do sellers really want to tangle with all these buyers? And now that said, and this is really important key element here. That said, if we see a lot of selling come in, it will be disruptive. And especially if it can get below this kind of 79 level right here, our horizontal line, then all of these buyers in here have it wrong. And we look for a really big blowout stop run to the downside. Okay, but we're staying with and we're siding with, and it's really an important element. We've talked about this many times, especially in the Bookmap Academy, that we're leaning on and relying on all of this activity in here and going with that direction. Okay, it's really important part here. Understand, it's not the here and now is extremely important, but it's all of this that helps the here and now unfold. Okay, so we want to stay with the strength here, and until we see something else happen. Okay, and that will keep you in your positions and not shake you out. Right, it's such an important part that we've been covering in that Bookmap Academy. And let me show you guys, if you're interested in the Bookmap Academy. We have a meeting on Thursday. Just go to bookmap.com, click on the more button here, and then go to under community, go to Bookmap Academy. You can sign up here, and you can read about it in here and what it's all about. You basically journalize your trading, and you will get feedback on it. If you do a really good job with your journaling, we recognize that, and we will give you Bookmap for free. We will also give you the MBO bundle for free too, if you can meet your quota or double your quota. We're not asking for much. The funny thing is, guys, like, why are we not finding as many? We have a lot of people, a lot of traders in here in the Bookmap Academy, but it's really spotty, guys. Just one piece of content per day. That's all we're asking. Okay, journal it, and do a good job. Do a good job for yourself. You're only helping yourself, and you're helping others along the way, and you'll be part of a community. If you can do that, then we're happy to recognize that and reward you for it. It's really, I really like this program. I think it's a win-win for everybody, and you're bootstrapping yourself here and allowing yourself to become a much better trader. And then the world's your oyster. You can do whatever you want, right? But the steps in here: first, you apply. You'll sign up here. Click the apply button. It just scrolls you down the page to here. You will need to put in your Discord name, or you'll get an email afterwards that'll take you to Discord. You need to sign up in Discord. Okay, the reason being is all our communication is in Discord. Okay, so that's where the community is. So you go to the applicants section in our Discord, and that's where you'll request your spreadsheet to document your trades. Okay. All right, so this is what we got here, right? Now let's take a look at this in here on this reversal. And this is exactly what I was kind of talking about earlier. This is why we did a measured move in here. And now it almost made the measured move. A price came up to here at 82. Let's just draw a horizontal line there. Okay, so here. Our measured move was like a few ticks above it. Okay, so you may have considered exiting on some strength up here. Okay, now look at the supply that is coming in now. Okay, now again, we're still leaning on all of this buying in here, but we're really looking at this selling now coming in. You go back to regular heat map settings. See how we're getting the heat map's getting a little blown out by this very high liquidity on the bid. Okay, so now again, we're still relying on all these buyers in here, but not. It's really becoming iffy at this point. Okay, it's a lot of selling coming in. We're below our line here now, and we're going to see if we get a fight here by the buyers down here. Maybe they can bring it back up above our line, back up to 80 here, and maybe even continue on up. Okay, the bid is strong, but we're finding a lot of sellers in here. Okay, now here, this is getting interesting. So we might have our little double bottom pattern in here. Selling, a little bit of buying. Here's exhaustion. If we get our buyers here, we'd look for the move higher above our line, but probably back up to about 80, 80 and a quarter. Right, same idea that we were talking about in the bigger picture, bigger reversal. And it's good exhaustion there. And, sellers are right back down. Okay, so we have exhaustion up here as well. We were looking for buyers up here, and we didn't. We thought we had it here, right? And we look for that move up into 80. Okay, so we didn't get it. We got a lack of buying in here, and now we got some selling down here. Okay, a lack of buying again here. And we're watching this really closely here. And nothing decisive here at the moment. Okay, some selling, more selling. Yeah. All right. So now we can look for these sellers to hit this bid pretty hard here. And let's see if we get a beautiful stop run now. So our pattern here, our reversal pattern that was painful to watch and partake in, basically, hypothetically, but it did our measured move, right? Almost, a couple ticks away, but basically did it, and that's something to really watch and monitor and manage your trade. Okay, now we're seeing the selling coming in, and we were really looking at this line in here, and we thought, well, maybe one more bump in here out of this area in here. Nope, we're getting more sellers here, and now think of all of these buyers up in here. Where are they going to be compelled sellers? Okay, probably down here, right? So or through this area here. We see some selling in here already in our stop runs. I want to see it flush through this area though on some heavy selling and then hit into 74 here. Okay. So that is the next scenario we are now looking for. Now let's just zoom out and look at the higher time frame in here. Higher time frame, like, look at the structure in here. And we could have done that earlier. Boy, I didn't even look at our candlestick chart today. Sorry guys. We just saw some good stuff in here, and lower time frame stuff. We just went with it. But typically we'll look at our higher time frame and gaps and highs and swings and previous days and overnight sessions, etc. But we saw some good things. We just went with it, and here's our sell side move that we're looking for into 74. Okay, so still looking for it, but looks pretty good now. Okay, so RK, you got your move, but we didn't. It still went up, right? Then we started to get that move that you were looking for, and you were looking for it, RK, because of the lack of liquidity on the bid, and I would agree with you. Thought we may get a bounce out of that, but nope, right through it. Okay, and hit 75. That's about it. Okay, and a stop run there too. Hey guys, well, anyway, let's let me get to a few more questions here. Oh, thanks, Dan. Yeah, you guys can look in YouTube there, and there's a link to the previous Bookmap Academy meeting that we had Thursday. No, AC, you can't change the tick size or intervals. Okay, RK, yeah, you're still looking for the bigger move. Yeah, well, the time frame we were looking at was a lot smaller, as you know. Yeah, maybe well, now we're kind of looking for the move lower. Let's take a quick look at the candlestick chart. Yesterday was very choppy, today as well so far. Yeah, you know, these lower wicks in here where we found buyers before. Guys, this is really, as you guys know, this is the same ideas, the same market mechanics. It's just a higher time frame. It really is. It's all an auction. People just have different, strange, weird ways of looking at it. That's it, though. It is an auction. Even candlesticks are weird. I mean, what does a 15-minute time, what does the market care about 15 minutes? Okay, intraday. Now, daily makes good sense to me. It's a period that makes good sense, and it's a closed off period. Smaller time frames, though, like, really, does it matter? It doesn't make much sense to me. Volume candles would make more sense to me. Anyway, let's just move on from it and talk about some of the swings. So you can see we bounced off the swing here. Okay, that was our reversal on this move back up. And then we saw the selling coming back in, and we're looking for our 74 level, which looks good to me because this is where we see wicks down here. Now, let's take a look at the hourly. Okay. So on the hourly here, looks pretty good too. Okay, to get this, we had our, it's still a partial gap fill. It didn't get a full gap fill here, but you know, it did hit this swing. You can see it kind of bounced off the previous day's volume of the high. So maybe we can get a full gap fill here down at around 48.70 right now, right? Because here's the move up. Here's the gap up yesterday, and immediately kind of after the first hour it sold off and then just chopped. Today gapped up and then it's been selling off. Okay, immediately filled it, that small, very small gap, and we're still seeing selling pressure come in, okay, on this hourly. So we're looking for sellers to trade back down to yesterday's low of day, okay, and then maybe fill the gap as well. So around the 73 to 70 level. Right now, that said, I mean, and we see that, and we're looking for that momentum on the sell side. Okay, we want to also cover the opposite scenario and look for that potential move if the order flow shifts and changes that way. Now we saw that unfold with that potential reversal. It came down to this swing, bounced off of it, and we got a little bit of a head and shoulders pattern in there, inverse head and shoulders for the reversal, and then it kind of did our measured move, and then we see the selling come back in again. And now we've tested down here before, we've broken it here, and now we're seeing seller coming in again. Okay, so I'm looking for another hit into the low, and then this will be the third time we're down here. Well, maybe not in this candlestick chart, but you can see it came back up, and now we're seeing the selling come back down again. So hit into this and then break it and then test into the swing lows from yesterday. We already know there's a lot of liquidity at 74 and then maybe 73.5, right? So we're looking for the sellers to hit into it. All right. Okay, in the bigger picture. Now we're looking for order flow to support that direction. Right, and so far so good. Here's that little move back up. We're right back down and we're finding sellers. So I'm looking for sellers. We've hit here a few times. I'm looking for sellers to hit here again and hit into 74. Okay, we have some liquidity here on the offer. Have a small rotation up. Okay, selling, auctioning down, sellers hitting the bid down here again. And let's see if we can get our follow through now down into 74. All right, now how do you manage something like this? Like, I mean, this really is a pretty horrible entry here. Like, on what we're seeing right here and right now. Okay. Well, first off, I don't think I would not be taking that. But a lot of times we can cover it though, even though it's pretty horrible entry here. We're looking for the move to work now. Okay, Alan, I know we covered this in the Bookmap Academy meeting last time, and we're looking for it to hit into this liquidity down here now. So there's not much you can do. It either works or it doesn't. If it does not, or Rob, you were talking about this. If it does not, you are stopped out here at break even right now. Okay, because this order flow event here should work. Or we're looking for it to unfold in this direction, and then manage it very aggressively and build our confidence. Okay, so yeah, it did hit 74.50. It did hit this liquidity down here. Only 29 contracts traded, but it did hit it. Okay, you could have front run that, and you could have gotten a point or point and a half or so. Right now, it's not much, but it helps you build your confidence. Okay. And manage your risk. All right, guys. Well, let's wrap it up. Thanks everybody for coming. We'll do this again on Friday, but tomorrow at this time we have Jay Trader. He'll go over stocks, small caps and large caps, and then on Thursdays we have at this time at 10 Eastern we have Scott Pulcini, and he'll go over futures and his way of reading and looking for order flow events based off of icebergs and stops. Okay, he's not using them as a signal at all. He's using them as a heads up to something, an order flow event that unfolded, and then he's looking for order flow to give him the direction. Okay, so it's a kind of a unique way of looking at things using stops and icebergs, which makes good sense. You can understand some of these events in here and then look for order flow event to unfold around it. Okay, thanks for coming, everybody. Have a great day. We'll catch up with you with the All Markets webinar on Friday at 10 a.m. And oh yeah, and don't forget to sign up for the Bookmap Academy if that's of interest. And we will meet on Thursday at market close for the Bookmap Academy. Have a good day. Bye bye.